This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore.
So Donald Trump's second impeachment trial got underway today. And just a few minutes ago, I talked about a video that was played during they're not even the opening arguments. The argument was whether or not it's constitutional to bring to trial, an impeachment trial, a former president. Ultimately, we're going to find out right now, they voted yes, it is constitutional. But I did a video just a few minutes ago talking about a video that the House impeachment managers played that I think is very important as a precursor to this. Not necessary if you witnessed the events of January 6th, certainly not necessary. But I think it's a good reminder of what it is that's at stake. I think it's a good reminder of what we're talking about here. The fact that Donald Trump dispatched a mob, incited an insurrection, and directed them to the United States Capitol, where a joint session of Congress was counting the votes in a presidential election. He sent a screaming, frothing at the mouth mob, chanting, "Hang Mike Pence." Donald Trump did this. We all witnessed it. The world witnessed it. And Donald Trump's defense team embarrassed themselves today. They humiliated themselves. I would say they humiliated Donald Trump, but it's not really possible. He has so little dignity or shame that he is impervious to humiliation. A few days ago, a week, 10 days, however long ago it was, when maybe 2 weeks now, when they decided, they voted whether or not it was permissible to hold a trial in the Senate. 5 Republicans voted that it was. Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski, Mitt Romney, Ben Sasse, and Pat Toomey. Today, we can add one more Republican to the list that allowed and agreed that it was constitutional and that this trial should move forward. Bill Cassidy, Republican from Louisiana. All those other 5, am I right there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, all those other 5 and Bill Cassidy. This is an important day, an important moment in American history. Because the first time around, there was 0 Republican support for Donald Trump's impeachment in the House. This time there were 10. Last trial, there was only 1 person who voted to convict Donald Trump, and that was Mitt Romney. Now, it looks like there's more of a groundswell, a tiny little groundswell of support for holding Donald Trump accountable. Hopefully, although still unlikely, some Republicans will open their minds and do the right thing for the Republic. But I want to talk about the arguments that were made by Donald Trump's defense team. First of all, the House managers, the impeachment managers, like I said earlier, held a master class on how to argue a case, how to argue what is happening. And they laid out a lot of the same facts that I talked about back on, what day was it? January 27th, I published a video rebutting the claims and the arguments of Rand Paul that it is unconstitutional to try a former president of the United States in an impeachment trial. And not only did the impeachment managers talk about those same things that I talked about, they also brought up a lot more context. They read from Federalist number 65, as I did on January 27th. They talked about William Belknap, the former Secretary of War for Ulysses S. Grant. They talked about Warren Hastings, the man who was impeached and had not been in his position for 2 years, but he was being impeached at the same time that the founders were talking about impeachment here and how to incorporate that into the Constitution. They covered all that. They quoted from legal scholars, both liberal and conservative. They made an airtight case, a slam dunk. They murdered it, some would say. And then the Republicans got up. Donald Trump's crackerjack team. These pumpkinheads who, I don't know where he found them, but they were ridiculous. Starting with Donald Trump's lawyer, Bruce Castor, who meandered and rambled in no coherency. What was he talking about? Boring the Senate to tears. The New York Times reported they talked to some of these senators and they were, where is he going with this? What is he talking about? At one point, so humiliating, such an idiot, he argued, he pretty much goaded the Justice Department, challenged them to bring criminal charges against Donald Trump. Watch this crazy moment.
Side of the chamber actually think that President Trump committed a criminal offense. And let's understand, a high crime is a felony and a misdemeanor is a misdemeanor. The words haven't changed that much over the time. After he's out of office, you go and arrest him. So there is no opportunity where the President of the United States can run rampant in January, the end of his term, and just go away scot-free. The Department of Justice does know what to do with such people. And so far, I haven't seen any activity in that direction. And not only that, the people who stormed this building and breached it were not accused of conspiring with the president.
That is remarkable because, one, that's exactly what should happen. And two, Donald Trump is sitting at home at Mar-a-Lago eating a cheeseburger, asking himself, WTF, what is happening right now? Why are they trying to get the Biden Justice Department to seek charges, to seek prosecution from a man who didn't get pardoned and no longer has immunity from prosecution? But let me tell you, it's exactly what should happen, because what Donald Trump did was not just a political act, it was a crime. It was treason. It was inciting an insurrection, an overthrow of a free and fair democratic election. Next is David Schoen, Donald Trump's other genius, who apparently didn't witness the events of January 6th, although he says he did, because he is leveling charges against the Democrats that need to be roundly pointed at Republicans and those who incited the violence that he is now defending. Watch this remarkable, embarrassing moment.
They want to put you through a 16-hour presentation over 2 days, focusing on this as if it were some sort of blood sport. And to what end? For healing? For unity? For accountability? Not for any of those. For surely there are much better ways to achieve each. It is again for pure, raw, misguided partisanship that makes them believe playing to our worst instincts somehow is good. They don't need to show you movies to show you that the riot happened here. We will stipulate that it happened, and you know all about it. This is a process fueled irresponsibly by base hatred by these House managers and those who gave them their charge, and they are willing to sacrifice our national character to advance their hatred and their fear that one day they might not be the party in power. They have a very different view of democracy and freedom from Justice Jackson.
He rambles about blood sport when people died as a result of Donald Trump's insurrection, citing of an insurrection. He has the audacity to talk about base hatred of the Democrats. The hatred that I see comes from the right. The hatred that I see comes from those waving their Trump flags, attempting to deny marginalized communities equality in our society. That's from where the hate comes. The white supremacists who stormed the United States Capitol in their Camp Auschwitz shirts. But like with anything related to Donald Trump, It's projection. It's what qualities are we displaying? Because that's what we need to accuse the other side of. The House did ultimately vote. Here is that brief moment.
On this vote, the yeas are 56, the nays are 44, and pursuant to S. 47, the Senate having voted in the affirmative on the foregoing question, the Senate shall proceed with the trial as provided under the provisions of that resolution.
Mr. President.
Majority Leader.
The Senate voted, and 6 Republicans came over to the right side. 6 Republicans, Bill Cassidy, Lisa Murkowski from Alaska, Susan Collins from Maine, Pat Toomey from Pennsylvania, Ben Sasse from Nebraska, and Mitt Romney from Utah. That's, I think, all of them. And it really begs the question, how is it that Republicans have taken an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and they clearly have no idea what is in it? They have no idea that to which they've taken an oath, a sacred oath. Because the House managers laid out a succinct case explaining the history, the contextual understanding of the writing and the inclusion of the impeachment mechanism in the United States Constitution. And the Republicans, 44 of them, voted that it was still, it's unconstitutional, even though it's been done in the past, even though several people have been tried in the Senate after having not been in their positions. Whining about arguments about why the Chief Justice is not there. Watch this moment on Fox News from Lindsey Graham, completely not understanding, or I believe trying to obfuscate. I believe he does understand, but he's a soulless, sycophantic, bootlicking simp for Donald Trump. Watch this moment on Fox News trying to cloud the issue.
That are more insightful than what President Trump said. But when the founders created impeachment for the president, it was different than for judges and anybody else. It requires the Chief Justice of the United States to preside over presidential impeachments. Why? Because you don't want a juror presiding over the impeachment of a presidential office holder. So the idea that the president is treated differently under the Constitution makes perfect sense. They never envisioned going after a president once he's out of office, because the purpose of impeachment is to remove the person, not bar them from running in the future. So the whole point of impeachment is lost when the person is no longer in office. They didn't go after Nixon when he resigned for a reason. So,
well, Lindsey, the reason that the Chief Justice is there for the trial of a sitting president is because you don't want the number 2 man to the number 1 man overseeing the trial. You don't want the vice president, who's the partner of the president, to be involved. But in this case, he's a former president. The vice president doesn't work for or around the former president. So the having a presiding officer be the senior senator for the majority side is perfectly appropriate. And you would know that if you had any understanding of the Constitution to which you took an oath. But what does that matter to you? The Constitution is not of any concern to you. The taste of Trump's boots are the most pressing matter of any given moment of your day, Lindsey Graham, and the rest of you cowards on the Republican side. Even Mitch McConnell, who said Trump should be held responsible, that he bore responsibility for what took place on January 6th. He even voted that it's unconstitutional. Politics, putting politics ahead of country. Not surprising, but shocking nonetheless. It should shock your senses. as an American. It should shock your senses if you're a foreigner to America and witnessing the downfall of a once great republic. That's where we are. Anyway, I'd love your thoughts. I appreciate you joining me. You give me a call, leave me a voicemail, 714-576-4054. You can also email me daily at dollemore.com. I would very much appreciate your feedback as we go through these few days during the trial talking about this matter. I would also appreciate if you consider supporting my work here on YouTube for as little as $2 a month. $2 a month. You can help support independent analysis and commentary on the news coming from this pie hole right here. Anyway, follow me on social media. I'd love to connect with you there. I love you guys. I appreciate you, and I will see you next time. And until I do, be genuine and take care of one another.